asking the president-elect to do the official welcome and introduction for us. Are you on, PE? No? Could I ask LGE to do that for me? LGE, Bachelor. Are you on to do the official welcome for us?
Desmond, right here.
Desmond, good.
Good evening, everyone, fellow Kiwanians, SLP members, and guests. Welcome. Let me start with those who are with us from overseas. Those with us from overseas? Okay, none? Can we start? Can we go to Division 25? Division 25.
Thank you, LGE Desmond.
Go ahead for me, please.
Okay, thank you so much, LGE Desmond. And good evening, fellow Kiwanians and guests. The Kiwanis Club of Hopewell, the Little Big Club, is delighted to be with you this evening. There are two of us online so far. I have with me DLG Joe, and others are expected to join. We'll put it in the chat, and we're looking forward to a wonderful evening with you as we celebrate Reggae Month. Thank you.
Thank you, President Georgia. And of course, glad to hear President DLG Joe is with us. All right.
Hello,
thank you and your
evening.
delegation.
Yes, it's good to be here.
Thank you, sir, as always. All right. Do we have others from 25, Division 25?
Yes, good evening, fellow Kiwanians and guests. This is Chair Ingrid from the Kiwanis Club of Montego Bay. So far, it's two of us present, and I'm hoping that others will join. And we are looking forward to a wonderful evening with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Ingrid, and your delegation. Thank you. Others from 25, Division 25? No? Okay, I will continue. I see PE Newton there. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, LG.
Would you
Desmond.
would you like to take over, or you want me to continue?
I will take over, sir, and I thank you for filling in for me. I had some problems connecting, so I'm actually on my phone, so I will not have any video.
All right, sir.
Go ahead. It's not the worst gridlock I've ever been through.
Whoa, I tell you.
When I made it to Seymour Avenue, I made it to Hope Road, and everything was over by the shouting.
Well, Valentine's is in certain areas, sir.
Okay.
So I see we are at Division 25. Anyone else from Division 25? Any other club, visiting club from Division 25? Okay, how about Division 24? Any Kiwanis club from Division 24 with us this afternoon? I mean, I know it's Valentine's Day, and we anyone join us from Division 23 East?
Hi, good night. This is President Erica Watson from Kiwanis Club of Trafalgar. And with me, I have the Director Pancita and Kiwanian Denise. Looking forward to a great night with you guys.
Thank you, President Erica. And of note, you are the first person to respond to me on Valentine's Day. So thank you for responding. Thank you for carrying your delegation.
All right.
We'll have a great evening.
Okay.
Anyone else from Division 23 East?
President-elect Erica Horton from the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston. Thank you for inviting us. I am seeing 5 of our members online, and we look forward to a very engaging meeting with you this evening. Thank you.
Okay, President-elect Erica and your delegation. Thanks for being with us. Really appreciate it. Any other club from Division 23 East? Okay, how about Division 23 West? Division 23 West? Okay, then let's move on then to Division 23 Central.
Good evening, P.E. Newton. How are you doing?
Oh, hey, how honorable member. I am great, thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Okay. Well, for everyone else who doesn't know, I am P.E. Eurydice from the Kiwanis Club of 23 Central, Surrey Online. And at this time, I have a delegation of 2 to include dual member LGE Desmond. Oh, sorry, LGE Desmond. So thank you for the invite, and I look forward to a very enlightening evening. Thank you so much.
Great, and as usual, great to have you, P.E. Eurydice. Thank you, and delegation.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else from Division 23 Central?
Good evening, everyone. P.E. Tushana from Young Professional St. Andrew. I'm alone at this time. A few of my team members will be on shortly. Thank you for inviting us.
Great to have you, P. Tushana, and especially on Valentine's Day, you would never ever be alone. You're at Kiwanis Club of Kingston. You're in a room full, but welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone else from Division 23 Central?
Yes, good evening. This is DP Paulette, Kiwanis Club of Friends Across Borders. And with me this evening, we have DP Bridget, 2 prospects, Jacinth Baker and Sheldon Young. Others are on their way because they're all interested in a wonderful evening. And happy Valentine's Day to all who's on the call.
Okay, great. And the same back to you and your delegation, and special welcome to Jacinth and Sheldon. Hope you will make Kiwanis your home. Nice to have you. Hope you'll enjoy the evening. Anyone else from Division 23 Central? Okay, well, let's move on to SLPs. Any SLPs on the platform this evening? SLPs? Okay, how about guests of Kiwanians? And we have any guests of anybody who was invited by any Kiwanian this afternoon?
Yes, P.E. Newton. I have Claudette Spence. He's with us from New York, I think. Yes, New York, right. So
thank you for the invitation. I'm looking forward to a wonderful meeting.
Okay, Claudette Joy Spence, it is great to have you. And what better day to join us than Valentine's Day? Really happy to have you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other guests of Kiwanians? How about other persons on the platform who are not Kiwanians? They are not guests of Kiwanians, but they're just curious about what Kiwanis is all about. Anybody else? Well, all right. I guess everybody is anxious to hear our guest speaker. I must say special welcome to Michael Cooper, It's great to have you, sir. And I know it's going to be a wonderful evening. And I know when I welcome Michael Cooper, I know some of you, it went right over your head. You're wondering, who is that? It's somebody who everybody feels so close to. Also, you just call him Igbo. I mean, same person. His parents named him Michael. But I'm pretty sure he will probably tell us something about that later on. So since we have no one else to introduce himself, it's back to you, President Junior.
Thank you, P. And a very good night to all the ladies in the house tonight, and a night like this, Valentine's night, right? And again, special welcome, Ivo. We're looking forward to hear from you later on, and I know it will be good. I have no doubt that it will be very engaging and interesting. Are there any apologies for absence at this time? Any apologies for absence?
I didn't receive any, President.
All right. Anybody else here that has an apology for absence? If not, I'll move on to recognition of birthdays and anniversaries. And our VP Stephen will take us through that.
Thank you, President.
Yes.
I'm here. I'm here.
Good,
good party, and especially good evening to the ladies who are celebrating Valentine's Day. We don't need Valentine's Day to appreciate your company and your companionship, but on this day in particularly, we usually go all out and extend an extra effort in acknowledging you. At this part of the meeting, we usually celebrate birthdays and anniversaries of Kiwanians. We don't have any Kiwanians who are celebrating a birthday, but we do have a Kiwanian Colin Barnett and his wife Rose, who are celebrating their anniversary on the 17th of February. So we extend to them special anniversary when it comes up later this week. And that's it. Is there anybody else, any guest or a fellow Kiwanian who is celebrating a birthday, anniversary, or special occasion that they would like to share with us at this time? Open call for special occasions. If not, President, I look forward to the presentation about dancehall and Afrobeats, as it's very current, and as a musical man myself, I really look forward to the presentation. I'm sure we'll have an entertaining and informative meeting. Back to you, President.
Thank you, VP. We'll move on quickly then, as we want to hear our guest speaker, to Kiwanis education. And that will be done. LGE, Desmond.
Thank you, President Junior. My topic is responsibilities of the Lieutenant Governor and the sponsoring club to a new club. And the source is Kiwanis International Policies and Procedures. The Lieutenant Governor shall assist in the formation of new clubs and shall have the responsibility to determine that the new club has and maintains a minimum number of active members at the dates of organization, chartering, and throughout the administrative year. Lieutenant Governor shall designate which club shall be recognized as the sponsor of a new club. The sponsoring club, the Lieutenant Governor, at the time of the organization, and any succeeding Lieutenant Governor shall assist the new club for at least 1 year after its organization and be responsible for 1, club meeting programs during the first 13 weeks, 2, continued membership recruitment efforts and maintenance of active membership of not less than the number of members required to organize a club. And 3, assistance in planning for and attendance at the charter ceremony. And finally, development of proper club administrative procedures and programs of community service. That's it, President Junior. Thank you.
And thank you, LGE. Thank you. Thank you. And at this time, we'll have the introduction of our guest speaker. This time we'll be asking our DP Earl to do that job. A bald-headed man introducing a Rasta man. DP Earl?
Yes, you know, you're taking one off me, President, you get away because you're president.
Yes, I have to take that opportunity.
But I recall when I was in England before, I was in a bus,
yes.
and I heard some youngsters start singing about if it's something bald-head, and I couldn't say anything, you know. and I was not this clean. I had a lot of hair. But because I wasn't like the earlier days of our guest speaker.
Yeah.
whose tone of hair is a bit modified.
Okay.
Hello, Kiwanians and guests. Mine is a pleasure and honor to introduce an extraordinary individual, one of our own, who was born in Spalding, Clarendon, shortly after Hurricane Charlie, which quite a few folks only heard about. He didn't experience it because he was born after.
Yeah.
Just the following year.
So 51 star, we never born.
Right, he wasn't there. The first hurricane experienced by persons of my vintage. February is the celebratory month of reggae music. And to have someone of the caliber of our guest speaker with us tonight demonstrates his commitment to his chosen profession and avocation as he lives the life he loves and loves the life he lives. It is mooted that reggae and dancehall music are being overtaken by Afrobeat on the international scene. So we ask, if this is so, how should the reggae industry respond? Our guest speaker was the chairman of the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association at one time, and is a director and currently legacy director of the same association. When the name Ibo Cooper is mentioned, it is synonymous with any mention of third world band. This is understandable, as in 1973, 4 former members of another popular band, Inner Circle, and some younger ones here remember the name Jacob Miller, but this is not about him. So the 4 former members are comprising keyboardist, songwriter, and vocalist Ibo Cooper, guitarist, cellist Stephen Catcore, drummer Carl Barovia, and singer Milton Prilly Hamilton formed the Third World Band, which became renowned worldwide. After 25 years with this band and being part of the many hit songs written, arranged, and performed by them, and him in particular, locally and internationally, sorry about that, arranged and performed by them locally and internationally, Mr. Cooper embarked on a new life as a teacher and advocate of reggae and popular music in Kingston. He was from a family of teachers. His aunt taught him music, always admired teachers. This business of passing on to others is something he developed a passion for. He is considered as one of the few musicians who bridged the gap between formal training, the Western European music, and the oral tradition in Jamaica. And I quote him, he says, "I've always recognized the power of informal music that became reggae," unquote. So since his 1973 co-founding of the aforementioned world-famous band, our guest speaker has, since the turn of the century, become senior lecturer at Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, the School of Music, was once a TV host in Malawi, and I noted the interest. I actually visited that country in 1974, and I just put here on a holiday job, 1 month, to bridge a gap for an engineering company. And I wasn't so impressed at the time, but Malawi, that's the first time I was going south of the equator. All right. So among his awards that's among Mr. Cooper's awards are 6 Grammy nominations, the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association's award for mentorship. I could have told you more about some of his mentoring, but this is an introduction. You should read about him. He has got the Musgrave Silver Medal for Events Management and was awarded the Order of Distinction, Officer Class, for service to the music industry. I remember meeting Mr. Cooper once and said, I didn't know you were Kingsley. He said, yes, but I was before that one. So please help me welcome to address us this evening, Mr. Kingsley Michael Ibo Cooper, ODJP. And I will add, I think he would be kind enough to include it in his address, or maybe the introduction part, how he got the name Ibo. I found it interesting. I'd like him to tell you. Please welcome Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, VP. Mr. Cooper, well, it's all over to you, sir. Your time.
Audio check 1, 2. Can everyone hear me? I'm using a microphone and I'm hoping it is clear.
I am hearing you.
I'm hearing you. I'm not sure if it's so clear, but go again.
Reason being that, you know, we have to rely on the internet, and where I'm living, I'm using an Ethernet card, so I'm not relying on wireless, but still yet and for all, sometimes it comes and goes.
Okay, you're good. We're hearing you.
Good so far. Okay.
Yes.
Gentlemen, ladies, greetings. Thank you for the introduction, sir. And I'm glad to be with you this afternoon, this evening. Before I get into what I have to say, I must say, sir and ladies, I don't have white hair, silver hair, and I don't have gray hair. The amount of experience gone in this is platinum. Expensive metal. Okay. I also want to implore the society recognize the teachers. It's an ancient part. Since most of us have African heritage, I can refer to a very ancient part of our traditions, irrespective of where on the continent you're from, that a master of his or her craft is obliged to pass it on before they leave the planet. And it is clearly why. Because it will die with you. And I don't like the fact that now many of the young people, for example, see teachers as somebody who go into the profession because, to use the Jamaican parlance, not now go on for them. It's not a good look. At some point in your person's lives, you know, you are a master constructor, architect, surgeon, whatever. You're obliged to pass it on, to mentor, and to see that the next generation downloads your skill. And just one more correction, my lord. I was station manager of the first free non-government radio station in Malawi, FM 101. I was the station manager, for that for quite a while, and was actually 16 hours a week. And I had a radio program called Clarity. That was a Pan-African program. And now I'm hearing that it has really influenced them, because there are a lot of things that the people on the continent did not know. But that is another matter. So, as I wish you a happy Valentine's Day, and hope that the love in your life will last for a lifetime and beyond. I must admit to a sense of anxiety about the topic because of some controversy that has started about the origins of reggae. I will start by saying that Jamaica has achieved the milestone of having Jamaican reggae inscribed by UNESCO as intangible cultural heritage. And Kingston has also been designated as a UNESCO Creative City of Music. These things happened during my tenure as the chairman of the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JARIA, and I am proud to have been, along with my team of directors and the membership, part of the planning and organizing, working along with the government, of course, that led to it. Only recently, I was explaining a statement made in my music business class at the Enomanle College of the Visual and Performing Arts School of Music by the CEO of the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, JIPO. She stated that Jamaica does not have an indigenous people, but we have an indigenous culture. And some students didn't understand that. As we know, the indigenous people were killed out, or have they say a genocide of the Arawaks. But what it means is that even though the majority of the people are from the African continent, with people here from India, China, the Middle East, and Europe, our unique historic experience led to creativity that has to be recognized as authentic, homegrown Banyaso Jamaica. The Maroons, the Rastafari movement, Jerk, Mentor, Skia, Rocksteady, Reggae, and Dancehall, namely our popular music forms, are paramount in this regard. If we had not made the universal impact with our music, no one would be claiming ownership. But with their yard and broad and wagonists are rife. Times change, and I've lived long enough and spent time among the ever-emerging youth to realize that appreciation changes with historic context. So Mentor was popular among a post-World War II generation, but gave way to the new styles and technologies emerging from the United States. Who is the host? Can I play my music? Will you hear me if I play the music? Who is hosting?
You can. I'm giving you sharing privileges to share your screen. So if you share your screen, you can play.
Okay, so I'm gonna click on the further. Remember, click share sound, and tell me if you're hearing me.
I'm only seeing your screen, but I'm not hearing anything yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm not started playing it. I'm gonna play.
Okay. Okay.
All right, let me use this one. You hear that?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
All right, so we're going to start with it. It is allegedly the first Mentor song ever recorded.
Where did the naughty little flea go? Nobody know, nobody know. Where did the naughty little flea go? Nobody know, nobody know. There was a naughty little flea. He crawls up on the doggy's knee. He crawls from here, he crawls from there. He crawls over everywhere. Where does the naughty little flea go? Nobody know, nobody know.
And that was Lord Flea singing the naughty little flea. And of course, many of you, I don't know how many of you old enough, because this is when I was a little pygmy. I was born in Manchester, Hargreaves Memorial, but I grew up in Spalding and went to Knox for prep school. And I was surrounded by 3 dance halls at the time in the town of Spalding. And this one was actually done over by Harry Belafonte and made a big hit by Belafonte.
One day I met a old lady selling, and I wanted something to eat. I thought she had bananas, oranges, and pears, but I took back when we meet. She had a basket full of plenty weeds and was calling like she was mad. I can't remember all that she called, but these were a few she had. She had man piaba, woman piaba, tom tom, call back and lemongrass, mini root, gully root, granny backbone, dead man get up and lip and to rope, coolie bitters, carina bush, and the whole compel and swede, sweet brown cow tongue and the granny crotch crotch, belly pull and the gozo weed. She had cutter for mama, fill up for papa.
It's a little touch, you know, so many of us from the rural areas know those bush. I don't know how many of you used to get worm bush and washout and all of those things that the young people don't get anymore. But all right, so mentor. And then rhythm and blues became fashionable among many of our young people who went north to do farm work. Turntables and jukeboxes became popular, and our people built sound systems to play the American records. It is alleged that this is the closest that the Caribbean people and the African Americans had been for a long time, because there was a lot of tension between the African American and the Caribbean people, because the African Americans claimed that the Caribbean people had come in and taken their jobs for lesser pay. So during this time, mentor was pushed aside, and modern sounds and fashions were related to the 1950s R&B. And until today, we have some of these R&B songs which are still very popular with us here. We like them when we do our oldies. We know there's Antoine Domino, but let me go back to the shuffle. Louis Jordan doing a shuffle song.
Hey boy, hey, what you doing, man? Cut it. Hey, what you gonna do? That ain't the piece we supposed to play. Come on. Well, I guess I better get on in here with it. She got great big feet. She's long, lean, and lank, and ain't had nothing to eat. But she's my baby, and I love her just the same. Crazy about that woman, 'cause Caledonia is her name. Caledonia, Caledonia, what make your big head so hard? Mouth, I love you just the same. I'll always love you, baby, 'cause Caledonia is your name.
I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill, on Blueberry Hill. When I found you.
Well, can you still hear me? Audio check. Am I still good?
Yes.
Yes. When the American sound changed, the Jamaicans decided to create our own R&B, and our recording industry emerged. The sound morphed again with the influence. All right, let me just give you an idea of the Jamaican attempts at R&B now. And the most popular one that everybody knows, the good old easy snuffing. So the American sound changed. And our producers and sound system owners by that time had started to try to record our own Jamaican R&B, as you heard a while ago. And it morphed and morphed with the influences of the African Jamaican rhythmic styles from revival to borough. And by 1962, when we became politically independent from British colonial rule, we had our own style called Skia. And I'll give you a little piece of the satellites. And of course, the tribute to our independence from a man who's still around.
Forward! March!
Gather together, be brothers and sisters, we're independent. Join hands to hands, children started to dance, we're independent. Won't be sudden blow. The Lord is still with you, because your time has come when you can have your fun, so make a run.
And of course, from those days, certain songs were banned from the radio because the powers that be thought they were throwing word. Here's one that was actually
Carry go bring for my dear. Bring me free. Carry go bring for my dear. Bring me free.
Now, there's a little young man in St. Anne that they used to call Red Robbie, and they brought him to Kingston. And this is actually the first song he ever recorded. It was a cover of an American R&B song, Bob Marley.
One cup of coffee, then I'll go. Though I just dropped by to let you know that I'm leaving you tomorrow. I'll cause you no more sorrow. One cup of coffee.
Now, most people think that his original recording was Judge Nat. The technicality is, yes, both songs were recorded on the same day, but actually one cup of coffee was recorded first, that's all. So, we got to Skia, we got to Independence, and our sound had elements of what went before. But a pronounced bass line and drums being played on beats 2 and 4 only, along with horn players playing the afterbeat, called the and, that would be 1 and 2 and 3, and Skia, led to a distinctly unique feel and style. The dancers interpreted it, and in those days you had dancers that we call legsman doing their dance duos like Bop and Persian and all of that kind of stuff. Stories vary as to why the beat slowed down. One drummer, and that's Joe White, who still lives in Treasure Beach, claimed it was his inability to keep up with the Skia tempo. And the producers, rather than recognize it as a spoil, saw it as a style. It became known as rocksteady, where the guitar and the piano now was playing that afterbeat, the and the bass players became significant now because the bass players were playing a melodious pattern, while the drums were still holding what we call the one drop, that same beat 2 and 4, the original one drop. Now, one of the bass players I want to call out here is the late Karen Smith's husband, Jackie Jackson. He's still around. Jackie was very important in this, and I'm going to show you why. The scatter lights had split up, and Mr. Jackson became the bass player for the Supersonics, which was they were recording at Treasure Isle for Duke Reed. And as a young man who had just joined the band, Tommy McCook insisted that intros were played by the horn players. And Mr. Jackson asked, why can't the bass play intro? Well, many people who know Duke Reed know that Duke Reed used to walk around with him sawed-off shotgun. And the roof of the studio was full of holes when he got anxious about, you know, the production being held up. Luckily, nobody got shot, but he used to shoot out the roof. And he came upstairs and wondered what was the problem. And they said to him, the youth want to play the bass line as the intro. And Duke Reed said, of course, that's what's going to happen. And so here is an early rocksteady tune with the bass line playing the intro.
Girl, I've got a date, and I just mean I can't stay late. Oh, all my life, and I've been warning you, girl, not just once or twice. Take this from me, I'm as free as a bird in the tree.
And so we got into the era where the beat was called rocksteady. The era was tense, however, with the emergence of garrison politics in Western Kingston and the introduction of guns to young men who had been raised on cowboy and gangster cinema. Some say it was actually the Rude Boys who wanted this new slower rhythm. And the bass lines led to the rhythms having names. The rhythms were named after the initial song that the bass lines were used for. But it was the bass line that was remembered. And these rhythms became classics and were reused in subsequent generations. Here's an example. Same Altonel is coming back at you again, but this time, he's not the person who invented the word rocksteady, but he was the first person to use the word rocksteady in a song. So here is Rocksteady, the song. By Alton Ellis.
Better get ready, come to rocksteady. Yeah. You got to do this new dance. Hope you are ready. You got to do it just like Uncle Freddie. If you don't know,
Jenny Roots, Sassy Perilla, Madam Theatre, and Duppy Body, Burbank, Fit Me, Duckweed.
sing. Oh, 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 oh. You got to shake your shoulders. Better get ready just to do rocksteady.
All right, so you hear that bass line going ba ba da bam pam pam pa dam pam. Okay, so by this time now, you tell the band who want the rocksteady rhythm, you know the bass man gonna play that. And here is one of the relatively recent uses of the rocksteady rhythm. Bitty McLean from England, doing it, covering a David Ruffin original song.
Now clap your hands and stamp your feet. This happens to be a treat wild treat.
It's not that I don't love you. You know how much I do. And it's not that I found somebody.
So you can hear in the background is the same rocksteady rhythm they're using. And if I will take the liberty to play something for you, I'll give you a few examples on my keyboard of some of these rhythms that have been used over and over, right? You go into a session up till today and you ask for the answer, really, we're gonna get this. Or you ask for Shankar Sheikh, you're gonna get this. Okay? You want Far East, you're gonna get this. So you can see where the baseline figures. So that was the innovation brought in the rocksteady era. The technology advanced, and the introduction of electronic organs, reverb units, and echo units, and increased multi-track tape machines led to the era now known as reggae. The slapback of the echo to the tempo of the music, the shuffle on the organ, as well as the double stroke of the guitar, which we call the check-up, added another dimension to what was still essentially the rocksteady style. Reggae was born, taking out parts of the music, leaving just the bass and drums, while echoing selected lines of horns, keyboards, guitars, and some drums led to versions of a mix, and later dub. This also allowed the DJ or the selector for a sound system to get into the act and emerge as a star, chanting in what was called toasting and later rapping to the beat. And so we saw the emergence of King State, Uri, Big Youth, and they became as big chart stars as the singers. So let me give you an original reggae piece that many of us will know, Nally Goat by Larry Marshall.
You say that you don't need my love not anymore because you have found somebody new, but I'm not gonna let you go.
All right, so here's this now. Check this out. You can hear the bass line, the drums, and all of that. Still just like reggae, but that double beat is now defining a different sound. I mention all of this because there was by this time a feeling among young Jamaicans that this rocksteady was ours. We were not thinking that outside of the British charts, where every now and then we would get a hit, there would be any interest in it, as it was. It was still our music at home. So when I started my first band and the new sound emerged, I was accompanying an upcoming singer and I'm playing a reggae style keyboard pattern. He almost violently resisted and claimed that he was not interested in mentor because that is how he heard it at the time. The rocksteady had a close link with a rising Rastafari Afrocentricity, and the generations from that era saw mentor as colonial, old-fashioned, too close to Calypso, and the white pants, white shoes bourgeoisie that liked it, and saw it as hotel and tourist music. Eventually, reggae rose to prominence, however, and was not seen as mentor or folk, as different styles of reggae evolved. The 1970s saw the unprecedented rise to international prominence of Bob Marley as the voice of the oppressed. He was playing reggae laced with rock, soul, jazz, R&B, and Jamaican roots steeped in Nyabingi. Apartheid in South Africa, the institutionalized racism in England, the Ian Smith regime in Northern Rhodesia, the conditions of the indigenous peoples of Australia, New Zealand, the United States, and Canada, as well as the repressive dictatorships in Central and South America, responded to what Bunny Ruggs, former lead singer of Third World, referred to in the song Reggae Ambassador as the big music from the little island. And of course, we know that one of the anthems of that era was this one. Where that gone also? Don't tell me.
a fight.
So it was then that I realized that while the politics, religion, economics, and academia of the post-colonial Caribbean region was confused, disjointed, and disunited, the music itself was actually taking us home. And I am glad that the bass player Derek Barnett from the Sagittarius Band, who also played for Yellowman, is alive and can attest to the fact that I started to predict the next phases of the sound, because I realized that the African spirit of the creatives would infuse that feeling, and the music would sound more and more African as time passed, until there would be little distinction between the Jamaican sound and the African sound. So, the music was always made for dance. Dance hall, to words, was always a space for the dance to be kept. Mento, ska, rocksteady, and reggae was always dancehall music. But come the 1980s, dancehall had become one word as the new style of music was created using new multi-track digital technology. The overlay was, however, very folk. More patois was being used in the lyrics than before. And the very thing that my friend had originally called pantomime music was now in vogue and played on the latest digital technology in studios. We utilized the open door created by the Bob Marley era to now take Jamaican roots to the world. And the influence in Central America and the Caribbean saw a Latin flavored sound called reggaeton. Jamaica gave soca a market beyond Trinidad Carnival. There was the Reggae Grammys. Europe, Canada, Japan, and the United States by this time had their own homegrown reggae bands and sound systems. And the hip-hop community in America acknowledges that their origins were reggae and dancehall. So, let us see what happens now. A new thing emerges. And for example, albinism, which was a curse one time, I used to call them Dundus and Kwao, became acceptable because the man is brave enough so that he was not a Dundus, he was a yellow man, winning the tasty contest.
When you see this rhythm, you have a patch. Yellow man made it. And you see after me done made it, me set it. Zungo, zungo, go, zungo, zen. Zungo, zungo, go, zungo, zen. Say if you have a paper, you must have a pen. And if you have a start, you must have a end. Say 5 plus 5, it equal to 10. And if you have both, you put them in a pen. And
Ding-a-ling-a-ling, band silent swing, DJ ears stuck up in the ear bone redeem. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, skull bell a ring, knife and fork a fine for dumpling. Booyaka, booyaka, for Shabba ranking, Shabba rocks disappear if you have another man change. So, them are the done to the biz, we have the key, put the down to the key and turn them in a donkey. Yes, them are the done to the biz, we have the key, put the down to the key and turn them in a donkey. Who they think they are, yes, they can't allow me. I am the general in the DJ army. With that only I am cross only T. And sit all the girl them tickle fancy. And anyway
So don't spread no rumor. No care me name, don't spread no rumor. Show me no respect. Not to me living at the ghetto, show me no respect. No care me name, don't spread no rumor. Show me no respect. Not to me living at the ghetto, show me no respect. Because this is a fact. Me have to confess to all of the woman man for due respect. Not to be dressed up in the latest that I will look fanciness. When we come out on the street, the man them say we look fresh. And every jack man of them we impress. Sometimes them get bright and start this stress. But if it's there, I got to see them.
And so, you see where much of our revival and folk roots were being expressed now, but with electronic instruments and instrumentation. Several prominent African artists, such as Alpha Blondy, Lucky Dube, Salif Keita, Baba Mal, Angelique Kidjo, and Papa Wemba, acknowledge the influence of the prominent internationally acclaimed reggae artists. And I had an extremely interesting experience in London because I went to see Alpha Blondy's show and then went backstage to hail him up afterwards. And when I went to talk to him, he looked at me and said, Ivo, you don't recognize me? I said, I didn't meet you before. Yes, when Third World came to Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, I was working at the radio station and I was the MC for the show. I nearly dropped down. Look at you who was the MC for the show and now become Alpha Blondy. So the influence was there. We have a lot of Jamaican artists who were always popular in Africa. Jimmy Cliff, popular in Africa and Brazil from way back. Of course, Bob and Peter. And you can hear a similarity in the vocal stylings of Bob Marley, of Peter Tosh and Lucky Dube. I don't know if it's an imitation or just one of those things, but there's a serious similarity. Third World has always been popular in Africa. And you know who large in Africa? Eric Donaldson, Cherry Baby fame. Sizzler, especially in Southern Africa, is very, very, very loved. And of course, Chronix in the modern era has done what was untraditional because the way the African market used to be set up before the business model changed, we were getting into Africa through Europe. But Chronix and his management were able to deal with Kenya and all of those places. Yeah. Jonah,
all right, thank you.
Mr. Stewart, mute your mic. We hear your business.
All right. Yeah, man.
Mr. Stewart, your mic is live.
Okay.
Yeah. The similarity in styles between dancehall and what was now emerging as Afrobeat, because remember the original Afrobeat also was Fela. Fela Ransom Kuti from Nigeria. So Afrobeat itself was changing. The similarity in styles between dancehall and what was now emerging as Afrobeat was increased by the use of a Jamaican sounding style in the Indian movie industry. And if you look at the early Bollywood movies, you will see a lot of what sound like our dancehall, but played with a more Indian kind of tone. And of course, in the Nigerian movies, what we call Nollywood. The internet and the ability to collaborate digitally led to experimentation with a beat that came across the ocean with our ancestors. And in music, we actually write it as a dotted quaver, a semi-quaver, quaver rest, then a quaver, another quaver rest, then a quaver, a semi-quaver rest, and then a dotted quaver. And it sounds like this. Which you will find from way back in West African music, in a lot of Caribbean and South American music, in dancehall, because we used to call that the dancehall beat back in the day. Okay? And of course, the rest of it has to do with language and accent, because the way the melody lines are shaped has to do with the way the people speak. However, I might be provoking now with this statement. The message of equal rights and justice is not being accepted readily by our former colonizers, because I am convinced that they think that to sit at the table of brotherhood, they will lose their power. This is demonstrated in the closing line of the movie Black Panther, when the European delegate says, "What can we learn from a bunch of farmers?" The president of Mozambique said that the Europeans think that they have a franchise on intelligence. What this arrogance leads to is a resistance to what we used to call message reggae, and a deliberate promotion of music that they considered no threat Afrobeat at this time will be given prominence by the powers that be in the music industry because the lyrical trend is more hedonism. I have no problem with escapism. And it is necessary sometimes to get away to Saturday night with a cool beverage and nothing lyrically too heavy for the head. But in making these artists wealthy, then our hungry creatives will figure that that is the market direction that they should take. And everything else is out the window. Art will reflect life, but art also has a responsibility to provide food for the soul. Let us see where this goes. I will reserve my prediction this time. I want to stop there. That is the end because I know we have question and answer. And I want you to join the discussion so that we can see where to take it from here. All right, Chairman.
Yes. Thank you very much for that, Ibo. I mean, you know, the last point you ended on is something I have observed, that most of the Afrobeat songs, you might have heard me playing some while you were in the pre-meeting session.
Absolutely.
I don't, there's really no message other than love and nice time. And so it struck me. But I guess, you know, reggae as we know it has always had that component, even though we have the softer side. So I like how you link it in terms of showing that, you know, the powers that be, that was brilliant. To me, that was brilliant. But anyhow, I would like to.
May I say?
Yes, go ahead.
Just I want to now go into a discussion rather than keep on just speaking. I want to say at this point in response to you that I also have the same feeling about the badman music and the gun music that's going on in Jamaica. Right? There are several young artists with different topics, but there are certain people with funding that promote certain things right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because if that's popular, then more people will follow, and that's the direction they want. Okay, let's open up the floor. There, you know, it was giving us a lot to chew on, and I'm sure that there must be some questions. Let me look. If you want, the easiest way to do it is to use the chat. But right now, if I don't see any hands in the chat and you want to say something, then just open your mic, and then afterwards I'll follow the chat if there are hands in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Who's gonna go first?
All right.
Hi, Ivo. By chance, I was listening to an interview with Alton Ellis just this week.
Yes.
And one of the songs that you played earlier on to pick the era was one of the things that Alton said. But he also mentioned that for some, there appeared to have been a running, my words not his, dispute between him and Bob, because he was preaching one thing, because like yourself, he didn't like the gun lyrics. And apparently Bob's songs were rude boy type of things, getting that thing happening. I don't know how you saw that era amongst these two artists.
Good point. All right. I did not play a lot of music this time because I wanted us to see what was relevant. But I can go back to something that I would play about the era. That rude boy era. Alton was against it. He always was. And he made a song called Dance Crasher. I'm going to play it for you.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, one of our prominent icons was a boxer called Bonnie Grant. He was the Commonwealth champion.
Mm-hmm.
And in the song, he says to the youth, why don't you be a champion like Mr. Bonnie Grant? Alton says that at that time, some bad man come check him and ask him, where am I deal with? Believe it or not. So he went off to England after that. And Alton did an amazing thing.
Now clap your hands and stamp your feet.
And Alton did an amazing thing with his life because he also... Are you hearing that?
Yes, yes, I'm hearing it. Dance Crusher.
All right, so that is Dance Crusher, Alton protesting the behavior. And believe you me, some people came and objected to that song. Right? I'm going to play another song now from that era that shows you the era. Listen to the lyrics carefully. Desmond Decker, here we're going now. And you will understand the era.
Shoot them a wheel. Shanty town. Them a loot, them a shoot them a wheel. Shanty town. Rude boy the on probation. Shanty town. Rude boy a bomb up the town. Shanty town.
Desmond Decker, 007, right? That whole verse tell you what was going on, right? 007, License to Kill, James Bond. Ocean's 11, a gang of thief. You understand what I mean? And the rude boy have a wheel. Okay? In those days, there were several cinemas across the city. And as a teenager from that time, I can tell you, when you went to the movies, it was a triple bill, and it was a gangster show, a cowboy show, and maybe a comedy. And with the garrison politics that I mentioned before, our youths got involved. Now, there was Bob is my friend, but there was a little joke that somebody made about Bob, that he had two weaknesses, bad man and pretty face. And I can't tell you that it's not a true statement. Because he was always surrounded by the strong men from both parties, believe it or not, until it almost threatened his life. Okay? And so Alton took himself out of it. Now, Alton had a rough time with his wife. And what was interesting is that he turned all of the problems with his wife into songs and became the father of Lovers Rock. Stuff like, I'm still in love with you, girl, and so on. It's really some true stories. And so Alton started to make love songs for the thing. And an interesting thing happens to the Trenchtown community, because Bob came to Trenchtown from St. Ann. And many people don't realize that when he came from St. Ann to Trenchtown, there was a vibrant music community going on in Trenchtown. So he came and joined something. But because of his prominence, people figured that he was like an original Trenchtown. Like Leroy Siblis, Alton Ellis, Joe Higgs, and all of them. They were there already and prominent in the music industry. So that is how it is. So that rude boy thing influenced the music. And the rivalry between prominent artists is something that was always there. Sound system rivalry in the beginning came by getting the American records and stripping off the labels and renaming them. And the exclusivity of your collection was the rivalry. But by the time we got to what was making what we call dub plate, then people were making special recordings that only particular sound system would have that recording, right? And it emerged until it became making special, where the sound system's name was called on the special. And we had a prominent rivalry between, at that time, Derek Morgan and Prince Buster. It went on to later on we had Beanie and Bounty, and then Cartel and Movado, and so on. So certain trends kept on. Now, in terms of going back to the promotion, though, one prominent DJ, I can tell it's Bounty Killer, he gave a talk at Reggae Studies. And he said that when he came out first, because his brother is a bad man, he came with a gun song. And King Jammy told him, no, I'm not promoting that. But he got a different song. When he came back another time, Jammy wasn't around. And another promoter, another producer was in the studio. He said, my youth, do your gun tune, and then put his gun on the desk and said, cool, me have my own. So I know that there have been some deliberate promoters, producers of a certain type of violent and sexual content. And so that has been there and it still is there. At this point, I am working with an organization called Creatives for Peace. And we are on the Kingston waterfront every Friday night. We're down to the finals now. And this Friday, we're going to have the second to last final where they will be presenting Rocksteady. And people, I am not holding these youths back to the old days, but you'll be surprised. Many of them don't know Rocksteady, and I've never heard Mentor. And because dancehall is now the longer era in terms of just time, an oldie for some of the students I am teaching is a song like Mr. Wacky is gone and then we go. Seriously, no, that's an oldie for them, you know.
I like Tennessee.
Them don't know Tennessee. Trust me, they don't know Tennessee. Now, I am not saying that they must be held back there. Okay? But preservation of the culture, which I'm going to speak to another Kiwan is about next week, Tuesday, is key. And I don't apologize for saying that. Let's face it, Beethoven was 200 years ago. And yet, the Germans are still playing Beethoven and their orchestra still play Beethoven. To the extent that there's so much documentation that when we teach music, our music teaching is based on Beethoven rather than on what we have. I mean, I am different. I write about Bob Marley stuff with them and all them things. But the point I'm making is that telling people what went on is not holding them to say, oh, you have to do this. It is telling them what went on so that they have a foundation to know what is new, what they can work with. And that's the pride of knowing that the contribution that their forefathers made. All right, the finals for the Creatives for Peace is next week, Friday. And they're going to get a $200,000 prize, a $100,000 prize, and a $50,000 prize. And to be honest with you, we have unearthed what I think is some good future talent. And we have asked them to try to make their messages positive, but entertaining. And to give you an example of what I consider positive and entertaining, I don't care what your age is in the audience tonight. I know that all of you know a song named Ain't No Stopping Us Now. Everybody jump to that song when it play. And it has one of the strongest, most positive message, but it's a wicked party tune. You see, that is where the creativity comes in. Making it engaging. You get what I'm saying? Electric Slide. Granny can dance to it and the children can dance to it. To me, one of the greatest era in dancehall music was when it was about the dance. When they were signaling the plane and Chaplin and Parachute. And, you understand what I mean? right? That was one of great year because everybody, it was accessible to everybody in the family. And I know I might sound very conservative, but you know what I mean? I am not into censorship. I don't think, but I'm into age rating, and I do not think that certain things should be allowed below a certain age group or with parental guidance. And we were part of the entertainment board when we moved the age rating to not just be for cinemas, but be for certain things, right? Because we have to preserve our culture. Ladies and gentlemen from the Kiwanis, I know you'll agree with me that we have to preserve our morality too, right? And that is where the balance lies.
Thank you, but well, I don't see any hands up in the chat right now, but I'll still allow a question or two. But I want to ask you this though. You said in the finalized, you won't make you won't say how it will play out in terms of the other kinds of music that's going on. But let me ask you, what do you think of what is coming out now? I mean, you are teaching students, but I don't know if they are if they are recording yet. I don't know. But what do you think about what is coming out? Because there's a tendency to say what is coming out now is trash. I have tended to argue against that. But then when I think back, some of the ones that I really like, when I look at it on YouTube, it's not 2022 or 2023. These are songs that were around 6-7 years ago. So I'm wondering what is coming on now. Are we on the right track? Just Jamaican music now, forgetting about any external.
Okay, I want to go to the Super Bowl in that regard.
Okay.
I admire the economic, listen to me carefully. I admire the economic progress of my sister from Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
I admire the business structure of Jay-Z and Rihanna and that whole empire they have set up. Right? Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, and all of that whole empire they have set up. Have to admire because they make money. And the making of money and feeding people. I have no problem with that. However, guys, let's be real. Rihanna is not a singer. You know what I mean? She's not right, She's not half key, but she's not a singer. Mind you, she's disciplined, and they were able to get a sound out of her and market it. And dress it up nicely at the Super Bowl and present an awesome show. Is the point I'm making?
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to have to think going forward about employment. What do I do with a young saxophonist if I don't have melody lines? You see what I'm saying? Are we putting and this again is what I said the Germans have done. There are professional instrumentalists in Europe who know that they're going to work in an orchestra. You see what I'm saying? And so there is place for spoken word. There is place for rap and DJ. But believe you me, I know people going to say, yeah, he's a old boy and Ray. The point I'm making though is that there are some absolutes. We can't throw the melody line. Can't throw the melody line. I forget the saxophone is somebody play, trumpet player, a violinist. Or else just close down the music school then. And just give them a beatbox and say, make a rhythm. And what a rhythm will be, and it almost happened in dancehall once, you get a drum machine and just go. Nothing else, and then just tap on it.
But that's not happening though. Is that what you're saying? That's not happening.
A lot of the production now is beat oriented. And a lot of the persons who are singing should be writers and get somebody who can sing. I have
Yes.
I must confess, I'm having a problem with auto-tune.
Yes. And some who are writing shouldn't be writing, or should learn how to write.
Absolutely. Burn a boy kill me with auto-tune. So I know that if I turn off the auto-tune, Burna Boy can't really sing. You can hear it. You see. And I know that there are persons in the audience who want to choke me to death now.
All right. I think we have to wrap now. But since you touched on the thing about the strings, and I'm gonna just that's the last thing I want to just get in. Yeah. You talk to me?
Yes, Christopher Smith has his hand up.
Oh, he did. Go ahead, Christopher. Didn't see it.
Yes, sir. I'm listening to the conversation. I'm very intrigued by it. So here's a question to our guest. Wouldn't you agree that the music is evolving away from being an art form into more a commercial thing? Because from what I see, we don't care about music the way it was taught back in the days. We don't care about music the way it should be done. It's more about pushing out the records. So you create the rhythm using a computer. You create all the melodies. Even the singing nowadays, auto-tune. Nobody's actually singing anymore now. And you can't blame people because people are trying to make a quick buck nowadays. So the whole art form of music is changing and evolving. I don't know if we will ever go back to actually really singing. So this evolution, where will it end? Or how will it end?
Very good. This is why I say I will reserve. Unfortunately, guys, please, I have to do that. I will reserve my prediction, and I'll tell you why. I know where it is going, but there are too many times when visionaries have expressed their vision and the culture vultures eat it up. Not the Kiwanis people, you know, but this thing is being streamed. And you say ideas are very valuable. And there could be somebody right now sitting down in Norway who will pick it up, and before I get to do it, him do it. This is why I am reserving.
Okay.
But I can say to you that I have a positive outlook. So I'll do that. Okay? But it involves some creativity that I don't want to give away at this time. No disrespect to the Kiwanis people or my Jamaican brothers and sisters. But life has taught me that, especially now, when Europe get broke, they want ideas. And don't you believe that the guys from Apple will not jump on it tomorrow? And before you know it, you say, but no, that made a thing about last night.
Okay. And the last thing, this is the last one I was gonna throw in. I have singers from South Africa, and this is not now, I'm not talking about Afrobeat, but singers who I mentioned too, Lyra and Zanke. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but I've watched some of their videos, and they play with a lot of strings and the orchestra. And once I remember asking, I think it was a previous head of the Jamaica, the Reggae Industry Association. He spoke to us about 2 years ago, you know, as to why we don't experiment more with strings. I think we used to, and rather than just the dominant drum and bass. Would that make a difference, do you think, just generally? I'm just asking.
4 years ago, I did reggae, Grooving in the Park in New York. That went well. And recently, did you see the one that we did with Sizzla?
Recently? No, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that yet.
You can Google it, man. There's a whole show. I'm conducting Sizzla with strings.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it is being done.
Yes, and I'm going to say, because I know we have a lot of right people in the room, I'm going to say,
Christine Morgan, your mic is open.
If you want to convene a secret think tank, I'm open to that. If you see where I'm coming from, because what I'm thinking about here needs a think tank.
Okay.
But they have to be able to sit and say, all right, you see this now? This is we as Jamaicans going to pull this off.
Okay.
And just like in a corporate secret, it has to be kept
secret
until we expedite, because there is a way out, and it is hinted here, you know. Art will reflect life, but art has a responsibility to provide food for the soul. You with me?
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, fellow Kiwanians and guests. It's I don't often.
Mr. Ramdale is hand up and a lady they call Condis Uradiche.
Oh, I see the hands now. All right, we'll take these two and that's it. Let's go with the one at front first. That's oh, Christopher, that you already spoke, if I see that right. So it's Eurydice. Go ahead.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Cooper. Great presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so to answer the question as it was advertised, the question was, is reggae and dancehall being overtaken by Afrobeat on the international scene? Are you able to answer that if it's not one of the thoughts of your think tank?
Oh no, I can go. Yes, I can answer that. Removing reggae singles from the Billboard charts and replacing it with Afrobeat is a deliberate act. Read between every line. It was not necessary. They could have kept both of them.
But who is the they we're talking about?
Billboard magazine. But it's a very powerful tabloid in the industry.
Okay.
Because people look at Billboard as the benchmark for success. You know?
So the reggae is relegated to the reggae listing. Is that what you're saying?
The Billboard magazine now has a reggae album chart alone. They have taken out the reggae single.
Oh.
And then but I know they've put in Afrobeat single.
Oh.
Now, they can easily argue that they weren't replacing it. Okay? But the way coming after people are saying, oh boy, see, you know, reggae now going with none of the man them say, and that's how people are reading it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
This is what led to the feeling that Afrobeat is taking over. Now, we have a disadvantage, people. Small population. Market need people. We're talking business. We are 3 million people, and we have to therefore export our culture. Burna Boy can be big in Nigeria and does not have to leave because Nigeria has 44 million people. I have a friend in Japan has a band called Southern All Stars. You have never heard of them. He's not known outside of Japan. And he have more apartment than Matalan because the man is the biggest local band in Japan. But Japan have 85 million people. He doesn't need to go anywhere. He fills stadiums in Japan with his Japanese music. So that is the disadvantage of us in the Caribbean and in Jamaica and these smaller countries. See what I'm saying? So as a result, you have a situation where Billboard can say, boy, these artists not selling enough. And especially like how the business changed now. And you're depending on Spotify and you know what I mean? And so when you look at the numbers, of course the artists from Kenya are selling more. And the funniest thing about Billboard is now they are recognizing the African numbers. They weren't doing that back in the day. Because these boys were selling lots of records in Africa a long time, you know.
Okay.
But Africa was not being recognized as a market until man realized, well, and the money I make down there.
Okay. Okay, Newton, you want to go ahead and then that will be the last one.
Yes. Okay, thank you, DP Stuart. And I mean, P, you already said just call you Mr. Cooper, but I want to feel that I'm closer to you, so I'm going to call you Ibo. Ibo, I mean, I must admit that I'm kind of biased because I from ever since I just thought Third World, well, not thought, still think Third World is one of the greatest set of music professional, not even band, because some people think band is a backing band or so. But the music you guys write, play, how you perform, I've just always thought you were in the top 5, whichever way you dice it. I also remember though, I mean, I look at it that people like you, I think Willie is teaching to, we know Cat can teach because you guys have
have looked at the music to the point where you can go forward before you started in it, and you're looking beyond when you get out of it. And I can also remember the days when people were saying Third World was selling out because they weren't sticking to reggae. You were experimenting with too many other things. Do you think that part of the reason why reggae seem to have been stuck in a mire and we're going around and around and probably going backwards than forward is that people, the practitioners now are more looking at less at understanding and developing an art form versus making the money?
All right. Number one, when Bob Boss, the pride in being a Jamaican and the pride in being a Rastaman was something profound because it was new and it was like, we'll get through the door. We appreciate that. But it led to tradition. And so, in some instances, people started to say what can go and what cannot go. What happened with Third World, and especially me, is that I believe in being versatile, and that was working against us in that time. You see? So, even at Edna Manley, I taught some students the Hallelujah Chorus. And the director asked me, why am I doing that? Because the director brought me there to improve their knowledge of Jamaican culture. And I said, but it's not an either or. And I still hold that view and have not changed. Okay. We are in a unique zone. Father Howard Cook, former Governor General, taught me something yesterday. I was talking about it. This is the only zone in the world where the Palestinian and the Israeli is friends. It's a very unique zone. All the cultures are here. Our mindset need to change. I play Beethoven and it don't stop me from playing reggae. It's not an either or. You see? And I can write the Queen's English and still chat patois. And so could Miss Lou. When I have seen Miss Lou act Shakespeare, you wouldn't believe it's the same Louise Bennett. You see? It's versatility. In the meantime, it was working against us because Sting from the Police could win a reggae Grammy, but he could also win a pop Grammy. If I ever did something, they would not include me in the pop charts because you're Jamaican, where you do a play pop. That was what was reaching us. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, it don't faze me. I just had to live through it. And it was a disadvantage. And now, one of my good friend cussed me when we got to know that we fall love. He used to play in Peter Tosh band. He cussed me. They were so Rastafari that, women don't play that. And I'm like, so what's wrong with that? No, they have changed. So in answer to the question now, the further answer. Today, the youths don't care. They're experimenting a lot. And I like it. Because the sound will change. And has to change. That's creativity. I don't mind it at all. Okay? I just want them to know what went before so that we are the experts in cooking ackee. I don't want a boy from Norway come show me how to cook ackee.
Just one comment, please. If the literature I read about Igbo before, this is why I mentioned you folks must just read it up, because some of what he just said a while ago about not sticking to the thing and the versatility, I saw that and I enjoyed that. And of course, as Newton even mentioned at the beginning, when Third World was playing, my only regret about Third World is that I couldn't see them live. I couldn't go to the shows as much. And the one or two I went to, I enjoyed thoroughly. And when you look at Cat Core, look at him and the cello. You know, you need those. I mean, they're so original.
DPR,
yes.
one of my proudest moments in this whole business was when Amnesty International put on the show at Giant Stadium. It was the middle of the 80s. It was 1986. And we were the second smallest group in terms of international popularity. We came on stage second because they put us on in order of popularity. I'm talking, there were people on the show like Miles Davis, John Lennon's wife, Santana, Bella. So you understand the magnitude of it, and it's Amnesty International. There were 100,000 people in the stadium, and there were 26 million people viewing it on MTV. All right? Elliot Gould was the MC. And by the end of the day, when the show was over, I remember the man turning to Mr. Gould and saying, so of all the things that have happened today, what impressed you the most? And I nearly dropped down. We never remember the name of the band. It says, you know that reggae group with the cello?
Yes. Stood out. Yes.
I remember standing.
And even to see Cat Core play the same, with the violin. I mean, with the string. I mean,
I remember
play the people, if you hear the music and you don't see it.
I remember standing backstage and watching the backstage go hush and feeling the daggers from the big names. because
you get the mention.
Yeah. Because the final song was I Shall Be Released. That is what they brought everybody to sing, right? And can you imagine when we go up there, we play the tune, the brother asks me if we know the cards. It's that kind of arrogance there, you know what I mean? Yeah, man.
You did mention that when you deliberately misuse a word or misspelled a word,
your sound going.
You're taken as if you're ignorant. So I think you folks, I just encourage you, just look up and read up about him. Read up about him, and it will inspire you, and you will look at music differently. And thank you very much. I'm not doing the thanks tonight, but I have to say.
Christopher has his hand up, and they look like the last person. And I see one of
my
schoolmates.
All right, we're not taking it more.
Hello, Warren.
All right. Okay. We're ending now. Yeah, we're ending now. It is, I don't normally do the thank you, but it just worked out tonight that I am the one who was designated to do the thank you. And I want to start by saying something. There are, this to me, this Reggae month seems to be the most, I don't know, I probably wasn't paying attention in the last few years, but it just seems to me that this is the one that has reached out the most. Jay, shut up. It just seems to me that this is the one that has reached out the most in terms of publicity. And there are a series of interviews by, I think, Oliver Watt, I think, is the person who does the interview. And he has interviewed a number of artists. Well, I watched one with Ibo, and this is 2023 we're talking about. And I would encourage you, go on YouTube. You can search for Oliver Watt and Ibo. If you put it in the two, it should probably come up. But it's the 2023, and you can see it's Reggae Month 2023. Very interesting. I also want to get in to say something about his Ibo as a musician. Two of my most memorable moments in terms of my musical appreciation had to do with Third World. One was at Sunsplash. I can't remember the year, but it was the year when Stevie Wonder was there, and Third World were jamming with Stevie Wonder, singing, singing together and doing the, I remember you did also the birthday one, Happy Birthday, and another song. To me, that I can just relive that. That was just a special moment for me. And the other thing the other special one, I think, was the explanitations. At the time, I never knew what to expect, but I went. And I don't even know if now I can tell somebody what it was, how it was different, but I just know that the experience that I got there was just a memorable one. You know, with 96 degrees in the shade, you know, that was just special. And I really want to commend you guys. In fact, just the people were talking about who is the best singer in Jamaica that Jamaica's produced. And Bunny Ruggs is either first or second in everybody's list when we talk about, you know, singers. But basically, your contribution to the whole musical spectrum is really, really has been amazing. And I wanted to thank you for agreeing to come on and for the legacy that you have. Well, you haven't left it behind because you're still generating. One last thing about tonight, you really took us on a good journey. Hold a minute, let me just ask these kids to be quiet. Aiden, stop noise. All right. Janet, shut them up for me now. All right, good, thank you. You took us on a really interesting journey, you know, and I hope when I put it up on YouTube, I won't get copyright blocking because I can't block out the music because it will spoil the presentation. So hopefully, because I weren't played in full, you know, I'll be able to put it on YouTube when I download it. It wasn't done live. It was being done. We're recording it and we put it up on YouTube. The other thing is, hold on, Jesus Christ, hold on.
Tomorrow night, right behind the Cross Market, downtown Reggae Wednesdays is back. We went to Montego Bay last week, so tomorrow night, and the venue is really nice, really comfortable. And so tomorrow night is what we call Lover Dub. It's the lovers version, Valentine version of Reggae Wednesdays tomorrow night.
Okay, I'm back, and I think I've covered really what I wanted to convey. Although I was really distracted by the noise here, you know. But let me just wrap it and say thank you once again, and for coming and for sharing. And I take hope from what you said about how you think it will emerge, and also based on what you are doing at the Jamaica School of Music. So thanks again. I do have a certificate of appreciation.
You're welcome. I just wanted to say that I hope everybody appreciate the statement I'm trying to make with my backdrop.
Oh, yes.
With all the heroes.
Yes, let me just share my screen and I'll be able to show the certificate of appreciation. And once I know where to get it to you, I will get it to you. But yes, so as it says, Kiwanis Club of Kingston, and presented to Michael Eber Copper in recognition of your contribution to the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, given this the 14th day of February 2023. So thank you once again. President, back to you.
Thank you. And thank you, Ibu. It was quite interesting.
If Barbados can make Rihanna a national hero, then I don't know why Bob Marley is you.
Are not heroes.
Exactly.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting. All right. Thank you for that. And I'm sure all of us enjoyed it, Ibu. We enjoyed it immensely. And you have shared with us quite a bit of interesting things. And it was excellent presentation, I would say. All right, so we'll move along as time goes on, and we'll go to announcements. Yes. No, the Sarge, I think, is on now. Sarge, are you there? Sarge? If not, we'll move to notices and announcement and interclubbing opportunities. There's G. Willie.
I believe he's trying to get on.
Oh, Sarge, yeah. Chairman Zuri.
He's still on the call.
Okay.
All right, I just suggest you just leave your a blanket fine, President.
Okay. So we'll just with the absence of the charge, we'll just charge everybody $300. All right.
Okay.
And
Regarding notices, announcements, just a reminder, Division Council meeting this Sunday at the University Caribbean Commonwealth is between 9 and 12. Registration starts at 9 o'clock. There was a registration form that was sent out. Please complete because your registration includes a meal.
Right.
The delegates also would have registered by now, which would be the president, secretary, and the president-elect. An alternative would be DP Stewart.
Okay.
Just a reminder of the Eastern City Convention, Quebec City, Canada, Thursday, 18th of May to Saturday, 20th of May. Early registration closes this weekend. So if you want to get registered early, better do so now. Kiwanis International Convention. That's going to be held afterwards in Minneapolis, Minnesota from the 18th of June to the 21st of June.
Yes.
Just a reminder that this week, Saturday, is the devotion and breakfast feeding program at Marie Atkins Night Shelter on Hanover Street every third Saturday. Those who are interested in coming, please join us. It starts at 9 o'clock. In terms of interclubbing opportunities, tomorrow, as usual, New Kingston have their meeting at 6 o'clock. Tomorrow, the Kiwanis Club of Trafalgar has invited us to Shades of Africa. They're having a face-to-face meeting at Arden High School conference room, and that begins at 7 o'clock. I believe Director Pancita is here. She may want to give us a little background to that meeting. On Thursday, we visit North St. Andrew, and their meeting starts at 6:30. President Junior, those are all the announcements and the club opportunities. You may wish to ask any member, any visiting club to make an announcement. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, DRG. Are there any members of visiting club that I'd like to make an announcement at this time? Members of visiting clubs that might want to make some announcement at this time. No, if not, back to you, DP Stewart, thought of the week.
Okay, President Junior.
Yes.
I'm glad it's a little different today, considering it's Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And I saw something, actually I just saw it today. It was it was some words from Bob Marley in response to a question, and I just want to read it. It seems quite appropriate. It says, Bob Marley was once asked if there was a perfect woman. This is how he replied. Who cares about perfection? Even the moon is not perfect. It is full of craters. The sea is incredibly beautiful, but salty and dark in the depths. The sky is always infinite, but often cloudy. So everything that is beautiful isn't perfect. It's special. Therefore, every woman can be special to someone. Yeah. And I think that I don't need to say anything more. That's my Valentine's Day wish for everybody. So back to you, President.
All right.
Boy.
Yes. Thank you, DP, for that thought. Are there anything else that anybody would like to quickly say? Anything else that you'd like to quickly add to this meeting? If not,
if we're still on, could you tell us about that thing on Friday? Where exactly said downtown? I don't know if he's still on.
It's Friday or Wednesday?
No, that he said something Wednesday at the
Wednesday
craft
and
market.
Friday.
But the one on the waterfront, I think, was Friday. There's a competition. Okay, I will contact him afterwards and get that information.
First.
Right,
Thank
because I would like to check it out. Okay, go ahead, President.
Okay, so could we all just raise our glasses and drink a toast to Kiwanis International and a friendly Jamaica? At this time, this meeting now stands terminated.
Land we love.
Eh? Eh? Yes. Okay. This meeting now stands terminated. Thank you and good night to you all. It's been a long but interesting night. Very interesting.
How do you pay your fines? How do you pay your fines? I know this is expensive. How do you pay them?
Direct bank transfer.
$300? Direct.
Yeah,